everybody, and welcome to Twist Gaming. We are coming to you live from Dice Tower 2018 in wonderful Orlando, Florida, a little closer to my hometown, kind of like the short drive. And I am joined here with my lovely co-host, Julie. Julie,
hey, how's it going?
And we have our very special guest. You may remember him from our playthrough of Dragon's Gate College from NSKN Games.
Oh, such
Rainer.
a good game.
Yes. Hi, Rainer.
Thank
it's
you.
nice to have you in person this time and not over Skype.
That's right.
So you've brought me another giant game.
Yes, I have.
I'm going to switch right over to the board cam, and I'm going to let you dive in and tell us what you've brought me.
So this is a prototype of a game that is coming out this fall.
Okay.
It's called?
Teoihuacan.
High five,
you
right
go.
there.
Doing
Bam.
That's right. And by the way, you get to start with 5 points for knowing.
Just for knowing how to pronounce it?
Wonderful.
I'm so excited about that.
So this game, it's a game that is by Daniela Tascini, who has a very nice pedigree of games that are very well loved and popular.
Yep.
And this is a game that it's coming out this fall, October. And it is an action rondel game where we will have workers that we move between the different locations and perform actions.
Okay.
Now, as you may see here, you're saying, wait, this is a worker placement or a rondel, but there are dice.
But there are dice.
Well, these dice, they're no regular dice. These are our very, very nice workers. The number on the die will basically indicate the level of the worker. So as we move them to a new location, we can take an action, and the greater the pip value is, and the more workers you have, the better of an action you can take.
Interesting.
So for example, here, one of the locations where I can collect resources, if I come here with just this one worker that is a level 1, I get 1 victory point. But then, after taking this action, I get to level up. As you can see, all of these other locations they have, after taking an action, I get to level up my worker. So then, as the workers move around the board, they increase in level. I can take more and more powerful actions.
So the more they do, the more skilled they become, the better your action choices.
That's right. So this game becomes obviously there would be additional workers that would be here. Now the problem is that when you go to a location, if there are other people's workers at that location, you have to first be able to pay cocoa, which is one of the resources in the game.
Okay.
In order to perform that action. So let's say that I had moved my worker over here. If this spot is empty, I can collect gold just freely, no problem.
Okay.
I can come over here later, spend that gold, add decorations to the pyramid that we're building.
Okay.
But if other people's workers are in that spot,
Yeah.
let's say on a future turn, maybe the white player comes and moves in, they have to first be able to pay cocoa equal to the number of colors that are in that location. So your workers, they will just slightly increase the cost, but then you get the benefit of an improved action, whereas other people's workers increase the cost at no benefit to you.
And
So
is it the spaces? I'm noticing that it appears to be. Is it just 4, or is it as many as you have dice that you choose to use, but each time it's increased?
So it's per color that
Per
is
color.
in that location.
Okay.
Yeah. So this game, it becomes a game of timing, which you will recognize from other games that Daniel Tascini has designed. And so it will have some spiritual similarities to games like Tzolk'in or Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Where you have to make sure that you time your actions and that you're taking properly, because you want to make sure that you get really powerful actions by making sure that you have a large number of workers in the location to get a powerful action without having to pay extra resources.
Explain to me a little bit more what you mean by timing, though.
So for example, if I take this worker and I move him to a location, he will increase in level. Well, that's fantastic, right?
Right.
That means later I move him to a new location.
He can get the upgraded benefits.
He
from being
get
an
an improved
worker.
action. For example, as you may see over here on this action up here, this is one where you gain. In fact, let me show you this board close up. So this is a board where you can collect stone, which is one of the resources.
And we could actually probably show it over here.
Sure,
Yeah.
maybe not the
This game.
green one. Do you have another
Yes,
color?
we can do one of these.
That works for me.
Perfect.
So this is a board where you can collect wood, which is one of the resources. And as you see, there's kind of a little grid here to help you see. The top row those are your options when you have only one die in that location.
Okay, so here.
But if I have more workers at that location, I get to choose from the bottom rows, or I would get that benefit. And then, of course, at the top is listed the value of the die of the worker.
Of the
that
skill
comes.
level.
Right. So if I come there with a single worker that is at a skill level of 1, I get 1 cocoa. If I have 3 workers that are all 4s or 5s, I get 5 cocoa and 4 wood.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that my workers, if I need to collect wood, rather than coming to this board multiple times and spending multiple actions, I want to make sure that they come here when they are of an increased skill level so that I can collect as many resources as possible,
So
thereby
instead of
preserving my action economy.
Right, so instead of having one worker here at level 1 5 times, if I get the right amount of, the 3 workers here that are of a higher level in one turn, I can do that same amount of work
Right.
plus more. Okay.
Now here's one of the things that is interesting is that since they increase in level, of course, these being dice, at some point they're going to get to level 6.
Right.
At that point, this worker will have retired, will ascend, and I get a new worker that starts off as level 1. I get a very nice benefit for having this worker reaching level 6, but now it starts off as level 1.
And
now
you have
I
to
have
start
a new
over.
worker that needs to gain experience and so forth.
And of course, you're doing all of these things so that you can be the one to build up the pyramid
Right.
in the center.
Yeah. So the ultimately we're trying to build the pyramid by spending our resources, placing these tiles here. Now these tiles, you can see that they have a lot of symbols on them. You will score additional points if you can match the symbols that are on the tile to symbols that are already on the board.
Oh, interesting.
So for example, this one over here, I have, as you can see, this spot right there matches 3 of the symbols that I have on this one.
Let's see
Right.
if I can
Yeah.
look at that.
So if I were to place this tile
Yep.
over this spot right there, so I'm going to move it over to the side,
Yep.
you can see that this, and this symbol
Right.
matches this, and symbol on the tile I'm placing. In addition to getting just the basic points that are listed right here, 1 point for building on the bottom level, I would score extra points for placing it and matching the symbols. So that would score me bonus victory points.
Very good.
Now the other thing is these 2 tiles, they are identical as far as the symbols go, but this one has a red symbol. Now what that means is that if I'm matching the symbol in addition to scoring the bonus victory points, I get to progress on one of these 3 temple tracks, getting bonuses from that.
Based on the color, matching
Correct.
the color.
So if I'm matching the red symbol, I progress on the red temple track. And this one will give me victory points. The blue track will give me resources. The green one will give me cocoa, which again is one of the things that I need in order to be able to take actions on the board.
Very good.
There are 3 scoring rounds during which people who are familiar with Solkin, for example, you will remember that you have to feed your workers.
Oh,
Now here's
yes.
the thing. These workers, they eat cocoa.
Straight cocoa
Straight
all the
cocoa.
time.
Chocolate, because why not?
I would love to live that way.
This society is one that I could deal with as well.
Right.
But then during each of the 3 scoring rounds, first you have to feed the workers cocoa.
Yep.
Then you will score points based on how far you have progressed from buildings you have added to the city, which also you will progress on this track every time that one of your workers will ascend. So gaining that increased experience will not only give you one-time benefits, but it will also increase your level on this track. You will score points based on how much you have contributed to the building of the pyramid, either directly with the tiles that are being added or decorations that are added to the pyramid to enhance its beauty. And then, additionally, there's a set collection aspect where you can collect masks that will score you bonus points based on how many you have collected.
Can I see some of those masks?
Yes. I can show you a couple of these.
Thank you.
So much like you were saying, there's many different things that you can do to gain you the points. What signals the end of the game that show and the victory conditions?
So there are 3 scoring rounds. At the end of the last player's turn, a marker will move up on this track. Once it gets to the end,
Very good.
we have one more turn, and then we score. We feed the workers, we score the 2 tracks, and bonus victory points for the masks that we have collected. Then the track resets, and we do that 3 times. After the 3rd scoring, the game is over. There's a chance to score bonus victory points for reaching the top levels of the temples. Now, the game could end earlier if the pyramid has been completed. So as we keep adding the tiles to the pyramid and building it up, if it gets completed at 4 levels, then that will immediately trigger the final scoring and the end of the game.
Fantastic. This looks like it's going to be amazingly gorgeous. I love all the layouts of everything. And I love the theme itself.
Right.
I appreciate that you went and did something unique, even in the research of history.
Right.
Which we talked about a little bit off camera, but that it is the civilization was underneath the Aztec civilization.
So this city of Teotihuacan, which is just northeast of Mexico City, was actually at one point the 5th or 6th largest city in the world.
Right.
And it's famous for the large pyramid. You can see depicted here in the artwork, which is the Pyramid of the Sun that was being constructed, which is the time period in which this game is set. But then by the time of the Aztecs, the city was already in ruins, and we're not exactly sure which
what
people
happened.
built
Right.
it. But this game is centered on that time period.
Fantastic.
I mean, I know that this is a prototype board, and I'm not sure how final your art is, but when I sat down to see the board, I realized that there was just so much going. There is at first a lot going on, and I'm just going to zoom in here real quick to where you mentioned, where you're feeding your workers and whatnot, because if you get in so, closer to the details here, which I absolutely love, these are little people and stuff, like individual tiny people and cities, and you see the people in the street. I mean, there's just so much attention. Look at down to the
as well as the organization, so you can see
Yeah.
all the layout of everything that you can do. So when will this game be available?
This game will be available in retail around the second week of October in the United States, and then it will be premiering for our European fans in October as well at Essen.
At Essen.
So
I look forward to seeing it then. Yeah.
And one last little note for people who enjoy games and are wondering, well, will this game become... Maybe after a while I will have figured out how this game works. Well, actually, pretty much everything that you see, each of these locations around the board, technologies that you can get, tracks that are here, you will have the opportunity to randomize the setup through these additional boards that will be included with the game. So you can get a brand new experience every time that you play it.
Fantastic.
And I did notice on the box that there's also a solo mode for this game.
Yes, there is. So it's a 1 to 4 player game, and it is an AI that you will be playing against that acts pretty much like a player. So if we were playing a 2-player game, I could look at the resources that you have, and I can see, well, you currently do not have stone, so I know you're not going to be able to add to the pyramid. But maybe you have other resources, and I'm not quite sure what your actions are going to be. And the AI functions very much like that. You can see what the AI has access to, but without knowing exactly which actions it's going to perform. Awesome. And actually, the solo mode was designed by David Turchi, who's also has a great. Was the designer of Anachrony and did a fantastic job with that.
So we have just a couple more minutes, but I know you also brought us Dice Settlers.
Yes.
So I do want to quickly
just touch on it.
Swing over to that one. This is so cool.
Careful.
Now, Dice Settlers is one of David Turchi's designs, which is also coming out this fall.
Okay.
And this is a dice pool building game. Where you will be rolling dice, and based on the results that you roll, you will be performing different actions. This being a dice game, obviously there are a lot of ways where you can mitigate the dice, including by the use of technologies and the abilities of the different areas that you settle. This is a game where it is if people are familiar with the term of a 4X game,
Yes.
this features those similar things, although in a dice game and a deck build or pool
Interesting.
building form, where you will be able to gather resources from the different locations. You will be able to, there's an area control aspect where people will get victory points based on the control of that area. Some areas will give you special benefits for having the majority in that area. You can also fight for control with the other players and so forth. So there's a lot of things going on here, and this stack do you see here is those are the different technologies that will come up in each game. So even though you have the same basic actions that you're taking as far as gathering resources, exploring new lands, settling, and you have the same
Stack of tiles.
same stack of tiles, they are going to come out in a different order, and based on the technologies they use in each game, it will provide a completely different game experience.
Awesome.
And again, awesome artwork by Mikhailo D'Amico, and we love the artwork of this and the great experience that the game provides.
Fantastic. Rainer, if our audience wants to learn more about what's coming up and how the games are progressing, where can they learn more?
So they should follow us on social media,
Okay.
both on Facebook and on Twitter, and they can also go to nskn.net to learn more about these games and come find us at conventions. There has been a line of people that wanted to come and see and demo these games here and at other conventions, so please come find us there and have a chance to try out these fantastic games.
What will be your next convention?
The next convention is probably going to be, it is a little bit unsure about any major ones, plus we're getting close to the release date of these,
Right.
but for sure at Essen for European viewers who may not have had a chance to look at these games here in the United States, come there and try out the game and get a feel for them. And so
Sounds good. Rainer, thank you so much for
Yeah,
stopping by
thank
and
you.
bringing us your games. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
And thank you, everybody. Stay tuned, and we will be back with more Dice Tower coverage.
Bye, guys.
Bye.